you doing? My name is State Representative Nolan. Welcome to Rollin with Rep. Nolan. And I am here in Hartford with Lucy Nolan. Who would believe that? We're here obviously for some important reasons. As you can see, end hunger in Connecticut is one of the biggest things that we're trying to combat this year. We did a little bit last year, but now we're trying to do even more. So I'm Lucy. Could you introduce yourself? Tell them your title and
Sure.
what we're here for.
Thanks. I'm Lucy Nolan. I'm the policy director here at End Hunger Connecticut, and I've been working in the anti-hunger movement for many, many years. And so I was previously at End Hunger. I'm back again as policy director, and it's really great to be working on this issue again.
So one of the main focuses that we had last year in ending hunger was making sure that our children ate while they were in school. And for various reasons that we find that it's important. Can you highlight some of those reasons?
Sure. There are many reasons. One of the things that we found out during the pandemic, and schools were offering meals to all kids, free school meals, universal school meals to all kids, was that many more kids were eating lunch at school. It's an interesting thing. You'd think that if the kids had free and reduced price meals, that they would automatically get those meals, but they don't, because they feel like they're separated from the people who don't pay, and it's a little bit of a stigma issue, which many people don't understand. But, kids know who has and who don't. Yeah. And so one of the things when everyone got school meals is everyone is eating. Even more free and reduced price kids were getting meals than previously. We wanted to make sure that all the kids who needed it were really getting it. But we also know that one of the things studies show that kids who eat meals at school, there's less bullying in the cafeteria, and because some of those differences aren't there, and nobody's looking at what food they have and don't have, those kinds of things.
It creates kind of a way for kids to also be more successful during the day.
Right. Oh, absolutely. So that was my next, is that kids come to school, if they get breakfast at school, get lunch at school, they're not hungry. So they're not being disruptive. They're not causing problems. They're not hangry. I mean, how many of us can start something, at 7 a.m. and go straight through till 2:30 without anything?
You said that word that it was funny, because when I was the school officer in the school, kids used to say hangry.
Yeah.
Explain what hangry is.
So hangry is, and we've all had it, right? At some point in our life, I'm sure, is when you're hungry, and because you're hungry, you're angry. Yeah. And the hunger creates the anger and creates a disruption. Yeah. And so one of the things by feeding kids in school and at the beginning of the day is you stop that disruption happening. And there are less visits to the school nurse. Kids who eat breakfast at school, even if they eat it at home, do better on tests. And there's a reason why schools, when there are the big state tests, the schools often offer breakfast to all the kids on those, that week.
And you would think that would be the clue to the rest of the year. If you're giving kids something to eat in these times when the tests that the state looks at are taken, you would think that it would be next best thing. Right.
Yeah. You would think that with all the work that's going on right now about absenteeism in school and, kids not learning and things like that. Mm-hmm. It's one of the things we know is having meals at school brings the kids in. In fact, in Groton, I just heard from the food service director that more kids are showing up on time because breakfast is free now.
Yeah.
So, and that's a big deal. I mean, that really makes a difference. Just that little thing can make a difference.
Yeah. So some of the things that were accomplished last year for you.
So last year we actually had a very good year. Was, as many people may have fallen victim to this, is that there was a certain amount of money that was put out, and then by the beginning of last year, so the kids ate for free pretty much through December, and then there was no more money for it, so parents had to pay. It was very confusing. It was really confusing. There were people who couldn't afford it. Kids shouldn't be the ones who are suffering.
Right.
So we were able to get money to finish off the year, which was great. And partly because there was such an uproar from people who all of a sudden realized that the meals were not there anymore. Yeah. I mean, in Connecticut, you have to have an income right now to get free meals is about $52,000 for a family of 4, gross income.
Now, that's a really good topic to discuss because it gives economic relief,
Right. It gives
quite deal of economic relief to families.
And last year was really tough because, as you remember, food inflation was really high. And if for one family, you can save, close to $1,300 for one kid by having the meals. And so we were able to do that. And then at the end of the last day of the session last year, we were able to get in the budget, there was money, $16 million to do free breakfast in all schools that serve breakfast, and then for reduced price kids to get those meals for free. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't everything we wanted, but it was a great step. And again, we're moving forward and hoping to continue that funding for next year.
We definitely want to make sure that we push that along through legislation. And there's quite a few legislators that are very supportive of it.
Including you?
Yes, you know that.
I know that all the way. Yeah.
So not only is it good for kids to eat in school, but there's a lot of pathways for kids to eat fresh food.
Yes.
There's a lot of organizations out there that provide fresh vegetables and fresh meals for our kids to really have really good meals. It's not just feeding them something. They're really good meals.
Right. I mean, and that's the beauty about having the healthy school meals for all, is that it allows the food service directors to rely on income that's coming in on a regular basis so that they can do from farm to school work and get locally produced goods from local farmers. So it also helps our economy in Connecticut, but it also makes sure that kids get food that is fresh. They know where it comes from. And then there was some legislation passed last year to give grants to schools to be able to get more farm to school. Yeah. So not everybody's happy with the food that kids get at school, but it's better food than they would get. It's nutritionally sound. Yeah. We know that, in fact, kids eat better when they get food at school.
Yeah. Well, I know in the district, I'm the state rep for New London, and I've been to the multi-magnet high school, and I believe we met there
last spring.
Last spring.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been there prior because of being a school officer in the school system before I retired. I'd prefer to eat the school lunch than go out somewhere to eat. I mean, it's really like going to a little restaurant because of all the choices that you get in the schools.
It is so different than when I went to school.
I believe we have Brigade that cooks the food. And I'm telling you, they do such an amazing job providing these kids with amazing foods. And they even try and do a special meal during the week at the local school also.
Yeah. And well, you have a great food service director there in New London. Yeah,
she does. So in our state, there are some schools that kids do get free lunch at.
Yes.
But there are some schools that kids do not get free lunch
at.
And sometimes that's because of the grants that are available and sometimes because of income levels.
Right.
But the whole idea is to just make sure kids eat.
Right.
It shouldn't matter what the funding mechanism is. Our kids should be eating at school.
Well, and I think it's important to point out that in our schools, we pay for a lot. We pay for transportation, we pay for textbooks, we pay for art supplies, music, things like that. And why we're not paying for food for the kids can actually succeed in all of those things is crazy. So it really should be part of the total cost of going to school because it helps teachers, it helps school nurses, it helps the kids, it helps parents.
Right.
But also it's important that there are a lot of kids out there, even though they're over the income limit, their families may not, for whatever reason, right? Their families may not be able to afford the meals, and their kids are the ones who are suffering. We had talked to a doctor who had a patient who had some severe depression. Her husband worked 2 jobs, and the kids were sort of left on their own, and it was for no fault of theirs or the parents, right? I mean, that's the thing. And so why aren't those kids getting what they need at school?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've answered a lot of the questions that a lot of constituents ask about. Do you have anything that you want to put out there before we close out?
No, I think what I want to say is that there are programs that are available for people. So, and Hunger Connecticut on our website, and Hunger Connecticut endhungerct.org has a lot of the information on for people to get SNAP if they're interested, and we have somebody who will help. But I think if there's a need, please contact us and let us know, and we'll try to help in any way. But also, I would ask everyone who's listening to write their legislator and to write the governor and to say, please fund the continuation of our school breakfast for all and feeding those kids who need it the most.
Yes. Well, I appreciate the time that you took to let everybody know.
I appreciate your asking me. Thank you.
And you heard it here. Rollin with Rep Nolan and the importance of why our children should be getting free food at school. It's to make them healthy. It's to make them be successful during the day. I want to thank you and wish you all a nice day.